going on?
What's going on? So nice to meet you.
You as well.
Yeah. You've been liking some of my tweets because I've been tweeting about the book, and I was like, oh, you liked it. You saw
Oh yeah. I want to make sure. I'm like, are people like, you know how people be like, kind of, I don't know, saying some wild, off the wild stuff like, oh, he's
it.
this or she's that. I'm like, let me make sure because I'm like, but you
Yeah.
know, that's y'all space. That's y'all space. I have to remember that as an author. Like that's their,
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate it though. I appreciate the love and support.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So
Thank
my name
you.
is Je-Ree. I'm with SpoilerTV. It rhymes. So
Yeah,
how are
yeah.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm in book two land now.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's one. It's that first draft. I'm like, oh, geez, we gonna
Okay.
get through it. We're gonna get through it. So yeah.
We're gonna get through it. So I'm very excited to talk to you. I have my notes here. So I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So I have to show you, like, I have a Harry Potter tattoo. So like I'm all about that
Yes.
magical life. So
Yes.
I heard that this all started off a tweet that said, what if Harry Potter went to a HBCU in the South? You
Mhm.
tweeted that on Twitter during the pandemic. So how did can you talk about that? And
Yeah. I mean, it was random. It really was. As Twitter is,
yeah.
we tweet out our random thoughts. So yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember. I remember it was like we were locked down because I know we was
Mhm.
watching Moesha and the park. We was
Right.
watching all the right. And so I was just tweeting about because I remember a viral video on TikTok, and that's when I
Mhm.
first joined TikTok. And it was about this black dude. He was saying that he wanted to see black people in fantasy
Mhm.
and sci-fi and he was like he said N-word wizards. He was like he wanted to see some
Yeah.
some
Right.
wizards. And so I was just like, oh, well, what would Harry Potter look like?
Mhm.
Going to an HBCU in the South. So I tweeted that, and the tweet kind of like did some numbers, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay, well, let's do this. And so people are like, I think it sparked a conversation of like wanting to see ourselves in that realm, wanting to see
Mhm.
black characters um at Hogwarts. And so yeah, so people were like, eventually people was like, you got to make that. I'm like, yo, it's the pandemic. We could barely get toilet paper and hand sanitizer. I can't go out and make a short film. But
Right.
people started donating and people started like tweeting and retweeting it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I have a short film to make. So I wrote like a pilot script of that idea about a
Mhm.
black boy getting accepted into a magical HBCU. And I called my friends up. I was like, y'all, I know it's the pandemic, but do y'all want to shoot a short film? And everybody, all my friends, they were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So we shot the film all over LA.
Mhm.
That's when I realized I was like, okay, we have something very special here. And I think this is something that people really want to see. And it's us, it's black people doing magic, casting like spells and being a part of like, our culture, like that's at the focal point of
Mhm.
the story. And so yeah, so we made the short film and that went viral. And it was so beautiful to see people go from that tweet to the short film, and people are having watch parties. People are like,
Yeah.
like just tweeting about it. And I'm thinking, okay, once the pandemic is over, Hollywood is gonna come calling, right? Like I got
Right.
the script, I got the viral short film, boom. Um, they didn't like they didn't go calling. And I get it, it was the pandemic, so they probably was like, we're not gonna give a newbie a whole show during the pandemic. We're
Right.
still trying to figure out like our shows that's successful. But when things started opening up, I couldn't get a job as a TV writer. Like, I couldn't, my script was, I couldn't get an agent, I couldn't get a manager, I couldn't get anybody to look at the script. And I was like, I don't understand because I was seeing people go viral off of like crazier stuff, and they were getting signed by CAA,
Yeah.
they were getting TV shows, and they were getting all of this accolades. And I was like, I don't get it. I'm not understanding. And that sent me into a spiral of like depression for like a year because I was
Mhm.
getting rejected from short film festivals. I was getting rejected from every single screenwriting fellowship with the script, and I couldn't get a job on a TV show to be a staff writer. And so I was very depressed about it because I was like, well, I don't understand what else to do with this story. And my friend at the time was like, well, maybe you should turn it into a book. And I was like, no, because uh, at that point, I fell out of love with reading, so I really didn't know what was going on in young adult fantasy in the publishing world.
Mhm.
This was around George Floyd and the riots and everything, and I was just like, I this story is starting to become an entity of its own, and I was like, well, I have a black boy main character, and he doesn't deal with what's going on in the world right now, and I'm going against the grain with that. So I don't think publishing is going to want something like that. And so I was like, well, let me just self-publish it then. With self-publishing, I can control everything. I can
Mhm.
control the book cover, the editing, all of that. I can control everything. And so as I was working with my editor, a black woman from Louisiana, shout out to Margot Weston. She works in publishing, and she was like, well, Darren, you got to traditionally publish this. She was like, I know you want to publish this, but you need a machine behind this. And I was like, and at that point, I was very angry about a lot of things, personally, just career-wise. And I was like, nah, publishing, they're not going to want a story about a black boy. He doesn't deal with police brutality. He gets to win. He gets to have the love story. They're not going to want that. And she's like, no, I think you really do need to submit this. Like, we need to get this ready for agents and publishers. I was like, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll give it to the summer. If we can find an agent, boom. And so we sent out queries. We got the script. I mean, we got the manuscript ready. We sent out queries, and I was getting rejections left and right. I think I got a rejection like 10 minutes after I sent the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And I was being petty too, because I
Yeah.
was sending them back to. I was like, I told you, because the rejections were very coded. They were saying like, oh, we don't connect to the voice of this
Mhm.
character. We don't know how to market this. And I remember because I was getting the same feedback on the script, on the short film and the TV show. And so about 3 months, I signed with my agent, and she was like, see, I told you. I was like, okay, all right, fine. But we still got to sell the book. And so me and my agent, my wonderful agent, worked on the book for a year. And we sent it out to publishers. We sent it out to, like, I think the first batch of like 30 editors at like all the major publishers. And the same thing. We were getting rejections left and right. I mean, there was one day, I think we got like 5 rejections from like editors,
Mm.
and I couldn't get out of bed.
Mhm.
It's gotten like mentally, it was getting so bad for me. I couldn't even peel myself out of bed, because it was saying the same thing. We love it. We love. They would have this whole paragraph. We love it. We love the story. We love this. We love that. But we can't connect to the character's voice. We don't know how to market this. So I was like, okay. At that point, I was like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
My heart can't take it. My heart got broken by Hollywood. I can't have my heart broken by
Right.
public. I'm done. And I wanted to give up on Blood at the Root, but that's right when you want to give up.
That's when it comes.
That's when God, the ancestors, everybody like, let's open up the doors. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I couldn't do this 3 months ago. Um, so yeah, so January, so this was around September when we first went on sub
Mhm.
to publishers, and we signed a 3-book deal with Penguin Random House at Labyrinth Road, the imprint, on January 19th, 2023.
Yay.
So yeah, 3-book deal. And now here we are. The book is out. That was a year ago,
Yes.
but now here we are. So
New York Times
New
bestseller.
York Times bestseller,
Congrats.
USA Today, and Indie
Yes.
book. It's a bestseller right now, and it's just so beautiful to
Yes, it is.
to not give up. So I always go back to those times, those hard times,
Mhm.
and I was like, why is nothing happening? But it's just like, well, I was just planting seeds on fertile ground, and
Mhm.
I just have to wait for it to grow, and it takes time, it takes
It takes
seasons,
time.
right?
Yeah.
You just got to keep watering it, and you just got to keep the sunshine on it, and that's okay, and just let it do its thing. And so that's what Blood at the Roots now is. It's sprouting into that beautiful tree that we
Mhm.
are admire, but it took years to get to this point. So definitely.
But you wrote the book in 12 days. Is that true?
I did. I wrote the
Yeah.
book. I wish I can say the same for book 2.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, I wrote the book in 12 days. After going to Barnes and Noble in Burbank. And no, this is no shade to them, because this was an industry problem. I was like, yo, where are the black boys at? Like, I don't,
Mhm.
like, where the black boys in YA Fitness? I was seeing all black girls, and I was like, y'all deserve everything and more. Cool. But we can't forget about the black boys either. Like, we can't
Right.
forget about them. And so and I was just like, it was just so it was, and then when you do find a black boy story at the family, it was only dealing the character was only dealing with police brutality. And I'm not saying those stories are not important. They are. They're
Mhm.
very, very important. But I just didn't understand. I was asking the questions, well, why don't black boy main characters in fantasy and young adult, why don't they get to be humanized? Why don't they get to have the fully realized human experience? Like
Right,
they like I don't why do they always have to die to teach white readers about racism? They already know about racism. We don't need our black boys to constantly crack open a book and then they get killed off. And then you have the, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I got
yeah,
tired of that and I got tired of seeing like the average white male or a white boy get to be the love interest, get to be the hero of the story. I just got tired of that. And
right.
so that's why I wrote, I think I was all of that was stewing up in me. I call it my righteous rage, just like James Baldwin always calls it, right? And so
Right.
I think that's what poured out of me those 12 days, that need. Because I remember 17-year-old LaDarrion reading Percy Jackson and Hunger Games and Twilight, and I was like, I'm not in these stories. And if
Right.
I am there, I'm getting killed off
Mm-hmm.
to
He has a
serve
couple
them.
lines.
Yeah, to serve the main white character, white main character story. So I don't know. I just got tired of that, and also I got tired of seeing Bonnie Bennett on in the Vampire Diaries getting treated like crap, and I was just like, what
Right.
the heck? Like so. Yeah. So that I think that's why I poured all of that out, and I think now book two it's like okay that anger is gone now. It's like what do I feel that well up now to really make book two um be realized and
Right.
manifest. So yeah.
That's what I love about Malik is he's a black boy in his hoodie. He talks like how we talk, and but he's vulnerable. He's a lover. He's a fighter. He's got this
Yeah.
power, and it's so great to see. And I think young men will relate to that so much, and it's
Yeah.
such a positive outlook on it. And also I wanted to point out what I wrote down because my family is from Columbia, Mississippi, but I was born and raised in New Jersey. So all those throwbacks is in the book, like sitting on the porch, getting your
Mhm.
hair braided with the grease and red Kool-Aid with the white cups. It just like hit me. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. Can you
Yeah.
talk about why you wanted to add those elements?
It's so interesting, and this is no shade to anybody, but
Yeah.
I do read reviews, and and some of the reviews are from Black people, and they like it felt like I was throwing blackness at it, like just to
Mm-hmm.
showcase that it's Black. It wasn't like that. I'm showcasing my childhood because I'm a Black boy from Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
small town, Flatfoot, country Black boy from
Yeah.
Alabama, and that was my summer. I remember growing up during I can still hear the firecrackers, the Roman can I can smell the sulfur, right? But
Right.
also I remember, going to the candy lady house, and she used to
Mm-hmm.
have and I didn't know that that was hoodoo. Like the way the Black woman in the neighborhood, she would have like this apothecary, right? Of like sweets and
Mm-hmm.
candy and all of this and medicine and all of that. I'm like, that is so beautiful. Like the fact that my candy lady in my neighborhood that was derived from hoodoo. And so I wanted to infuse that. And I remember hearing Johnny Taylor on the radio, right? My uncle playing that on those speakers over and over and over. And you seeing the aunties and the uncles slapping spades down and cussing at each other, laughing and crying and all of that. And so I wanted to put that in there because we don't get to see that, right? We don't get to
No.
see that Southern living, that Black folks just living their lives. Like there's a line in the book where black folks don't give a f about patriotism. It's just an excuse for them to be off work and just to
Yes.
eat and laugh because that is literally that's what it was. And I wanted to showcase that. And it's so beautiful to hear different sides of it. People are saying, like just like you saying, it reminded of you that, but it's some people are saying it just felt like it was too much blackness thrown at them. I'm like, no, that was just my childhood.
Right.
That literally was my childhood. Like, and riding the bikes and people throwing firecrackers at you, like and you trying to dodge it and you hearing the music, you smelling the food and all of that, and you drinking down like those. I call it I don't know if you ever seen like a Save a Lot, grocery store, right? Those drinks, right? Those off-brand
Yes.
Dr. Peppers and Coca-Colas, like, you know what I'm saying? So I really wanted to infuse that. And it's so beautiful because somebody from my old neighborhood, a childhood friend of mine, said it was so beautiful to see. They felt seen
Right.
when they read that chapter. And that's why I did that. because we don't get to see us. Black people, there's a thing where Black people are not a monolith, and I get that to an extent, but sometimes I don't agree with that because just like Denzel said in the interview, right? You know, I know, everybody know what a hot coffee smell like on us
Yes,
Easter Sunday morning, right? You
right.
know what it's like to sit on the porch, even though you grew up in New Jersey or whatever. I'm pretty sure still your family, like when y'all get together, like
Yep.
you hearing that music and you sitting on the porch because that is Blackness, that is beautiful, and that is our culture. And so I wanted to infuse that into the book because I really didn't see a lot of that in the book. You always see like Black kids going to coming from affluent, backgrounds, or going to a PWI or going to a white school. I didn't want to focus whiteness into this story. You're going to get the Black Southern experience. So that's why I put that in there because it is beautiful. The South is beautiful. It is poetry. It is everyday living. You are going to hear the language of the everyday people. You are going to see or read about my mother's upbringing, my father's, my upbringing, my cousins and them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
you hear all of that. And so that's why I put that in there to answer your question long form.
And I really have to thank you because like growing up as like a Black nerd when I grew up in school, it really was not. I
Mhm.
was like, you're weird. And so like I get to the part of the book and you're naming people that are in my family. I have a TT that raised me, I have a Poochie that raised me, I have a cousin Brigitte. I was like, what is he like?
Mhm.
Is he here in my house? Like, how is he have these names? Like
Yes.
so important. It's the most I've ever felt really connected to not even just in the fantasy genre. I mean, the closest we got, of course, is Black Panther, and you do give a shout out to Chadwick Boseman. So why
Yeah.
was that important to include him in that?
Yeah, I mean, one, he from the South, so a lot of people,
Mm.
yeah, 'cause I got flack for that a little bit too. They was like,
What?
it just, yeah, I'm just so confused. Somebody said it felt like a white man was writing it. I was like, no, because when I wrote the pilot,
Mm.
there was a scene in the pilot script in 2020. Because when did Chadwick die? He died in 2021, 2021,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I
Yeah, it
think
was 2020 or
yeah.
2021.
Mm.
And there was a scene where we didn't like obviously everybody didn't know him personally, but it was kind of like, dang, we really lost our cousin. We really lost
Mm.
our brother, like our friend. Like,
Mm.
and so I put that in there to of course it's going to be a mural of like Kobe Bryant
Mm.
and of course,
Right,
but also it's to again August Wilson always talks about, I mean, he's my favorite playwright of all time. He always talks about exhuming the bodies of those who lived and those who dreamed. And of course, a Black kid, a 17-year-old Black boy, when he's going to see another Black man, especially Wakanda, it was so important because right when we went to go see Black Panther when it first came out, it was like a cookout, right?
right.
People was cooking plates, like they was handing out plates and dressing up and
Dressing
having a
up,
family
yeah.
reunion because again, that was because we were so hungry for that representation. Then
Mm.
so why not? I don't understand why not, honor the man who brought that character to light.
Exactly,
So that's why
exactly.
I put that in there because I was just like, it's not me trying to be black or pro. It's just me honoring, exhuming the bodies of those who lived and of those who dreamed. Just like just like James Baldwin did, just like Zora Neale Hurston did, just like August Wilson, all of
Mm.
these Black writers, these literary ancestors, all they did the same thing. So that's why I put that in there, just to honor him.
Um, and I totally get that. I don't know why you get any negative feedback, but everyone's entitled to their
you
opinion.
know, you know,
um,
you know.
yeah. The professors that came in university, are they based off any teachers you had or anyone in any characters in the book?
So Dr. Keela is based off of Cat Graham, who played Bonnie Bennett, because
Bounty
it's kind
Bennett. Mm-hmm.
of my flowers to
Mm-hmm.
her because justice for Bonnie Bennett, they did
Mm-hmm.
they did our girl wrong.
They
Um,
did.
that's a whole nother conversation
It's a
though.
whole yeah.
And so yeah, like the professors, I kind of based them off of. I didn't have Black professors, so it
Mm,
wasn't like I was basing them off of like real life professors. Honestly, I was basing them off of like actors, like some of my
mm,
favorite actors. So Dr. Keela, yeah, like that's who like Cat Graham would be, like Professor Kumale. I kind of saw like, I don't know, I was watching Queen Sugar at the time, so I kind of saw Kofi Cerebo, who plays
mm,
Ralph on. So I kind of saw him as, Kumale. Chancellor Taryn. It switches now. Now I'm thinking Yahya Abdul Mateen.
Yeah.
I kind of see because he's from Louisiana, and
Mhm.
two, he just kind of has that essence. So yeah, it mostly was it's mostly based off of like my favorite actors, some of my favorite actors that I really like.
Okay. Is there any connection between broken memories and blood at the root? Or
Oh, you really did your research. No, not really.
okay.
No, not really.
No.
Broken
Okay.
Memories was kind of like my that was kind of like my nod to Intozaki Shange for Color Girls. I really,
Mhm.
as a black man, I read that in high school and I was like, wait, this is actually really cool. A choreo poem. Like
Mhm.
I want to create that for teens. So now, I mean, oh well, you know what? I'm lying because I did put a Broken Memories line into the book. So I'm lying. So
Okay.
it was kind of like a nod. If you know me as a writer, if you grew up with me as a writer, if you see that word, you'll be like, oh shoot, that's
Mhm.
LaDarrion's. So yeah, it's kind of like an Easter egg, most likely.
Okay. I really enjoyed the fight between Malik and Danye at the with the dorm wars and all that. How fun
Mm.
was writing that?
Yo, like, don't okay. So I went to a PWI and they had this thing called Dorm Wars, and I was
Mhm.
like, wait, what is this? But the way they did it, child, it was like buggies or like it was like shopping carts. I don't know the way they did it.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be some dodgeball, like
Yeah.
So I stole that idea from my college because they didn't treat the black students right anyway. So amen. Uh, and so I was like, well, I kind of want to have like a dorm wars scene, right?
Mhm.
And it's funny, my editors wanted me to cut that scene, and I was like, no, I think that's gonna be so cool, like
Yeah.
just because it's gonna foreshadow a lot what's gonna happen
Mhm.
later in the book. But yeah, I had a lot of fun writing that scene because I was like magical, like imagine magical dodgeball. Like
Right.
the balls come out of the ground and they're like fire, but they can't burn you.
Mhm.
And like so, you just seeing black kids like it's just I can't wait to film this TV show because you're just gonna see these really cool epic black kids running to the middle and you see them speed running and like you see them like throwing up the fireballs and hitting. I was like, because that's I just remembered like wanting to be doing stuff like that. Cause like kind of like Percy Jackson, right? When they were like, they were in playing the games at the camp Half Blood. It's just like I wanted to see black kids,
Right.
is that. And I remember playing dodgeball growing up. Like, you know,
Mhm.
kick we back in the day, because we couldn't afford a lot of the stuff. So we had to turn everything into a dodgeball. I remember we used to play dodgeball with volleyballs. We used to play dodgeball with tennis ball. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever
Yeah.
we get our hands on, like as black kids back in the day. So I just wanted to have that because that's one from my childhood and just to see black kids have fun and
Yeah.
and it's a cool concept.
Yeah.
Magical basketball.
I can't wait to get a TV show. I tweeted today. I just keep seeing Coco Jones as Alexis in my head. So if that
Ooh,
happens, I will be.
I mean, I
Yeah,
put her song up in the book, but
yeah,
yeah,
you did, and then you mentioned her, and I was like, ah,
yeah,
I
that would be cool. That would be
did.
so dope. Like, she would
Yeah,
be such a cool Alexis. Like, hey, like if she wants to
right.
come play in Batterland, let's go. Like,
Yeah, and I only see Jalen Hall now because I'm listening to the audiobook, so I
I
can't
think
even
so too.
picture, yeah,
I
anyone
think so
else.
too. Yeah, he's an amazing young actor. But I think for the live action, because he does audiobooks, but also he's an actor, so it wouldn't be a
Yeah,
hard transition.
right.
So, yeah, definitely.
So my last question I have, because I'm running out of time, any authors that you are currently obsessed with?
You know who I'm really inspired by, and I want to model my career after is Tomi Adeyemi. She's the author of Children of Blood and Bone and
Mhm.
Children of Virtue and Vengeance and Children of Anguish and Anarchy. Um, I don't know, just to see just see a black woman killing it in the YA field, but also to spark a change in
Mhm.
YA fantasy. I'm always studying her, right? I study her like for my Good Morning America. So maybe we should tweet to her. I studied her Good Morning America just so I could prep myself.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm just really like proud and to just see her, but also very inspired to see her because she changed the game, right?
Mhm.
Like, so I'm just like I want to do that for young black boys. I want to usher in more stories for young black men in the YA genre. And YA fantasies, sorry. And just yeah, so I really look up to her. I really aspire to be like her. I want my career just like hers because she's killing it. She's killing it.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the luck. I'm too
Period.
old to play a student, but I could be in the background and
Hey, you could be a professor or
yeah.
TA or something. Like everybody came and got magic, so that's all right.
Right? That's right.
You could be one of that teacher like kind of in Harry Potter that she came out and she started whipping that stuff
Yeah.
and like doing all.
Right.
And you're like, where was you for the past 6 movies? Like, girl, you making statues come to life and blasting all of them. So yeah, definitely. Come on.
I'm there. But thank you
Yeah,
so much. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you.